Good evening. At this time, I'd like to call our regular meeting, July the 11th, to order. Welcome everyone for being here, and at this time I will ask Commissioner Dennis for the invocation and lead us in the pledge. Commissioner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I start the prayer, let's try to make sure we do remember all of our military that's in uniform all over the world and all of our law enforcement that put their lives on the line every day, and some of it's so mindless of what's happening to them. I don't know what's going to do to make this country be better, but let's all keep them in our hearts and prayers. Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, draw our hearts to you. Guide our minds, fill our imagination, control our wills, so that we may be wholly yours, utterly dedicated to you, and then use us, we pray, as you will, but always to your glory and the welfare of your people. Amen. Let us do the pledge.
Thank you, Commissioner Dennis. At this time, you have the agenda in front of you. Any corrections or additions to the agenda?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
I got a motion by Commissioner McIntyre and a second by Commissioner Dennis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we have a retirement award presentation from Ms. Gwen Henson. If I could, I'd get the Gwen's career with Stanley County began July the 1st, 1986, and spanned a full 30 years. Gwen became the county's first and only transportation director with the Stanley County Umbrella Services Agency, and we know that SCUSA was formed. Under Gwen's leadership, SCUSA has earned a regional and statewide reputation as a leader in rural transportation services delivery. Numerous safety awards have been received by SCUSA employees during her tenure. Gwen was a consummate professional. She was very dedicated to ensure that those riding a SCUSA bus were treated with dignity, respect, and arrived at their destination safely. Gwen leaves behind a legacy of accountability, sound fiscal stewardship, and most importantly, safety. Gwen is to be commended for numerous years of service to Stanley County, committed to customer service, and willingness to seek ways to continuously improve the delivery and safety of transportation services. On behalf of the Stanley County Board of Commissioners, Gwen, we'd like to thank you for your 30 years of service to Stanley County. Your passion and work ethic will be missed. Gwen said she was still on vacation mode. She hadn't been off work long enough to be on retirement. So again, congratulations, Gwen. Thank you very much. At this time, the NCACC Youth Summit 4-H presentation. Our presenter is Ms. Kate Van Horn, Secretary of 4-H.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk to you guys tonight. My name is Kate Van Horn, and I will be talking to you about the benefits of 4-H. I'm here this evening speaking to you because I am representing Stanley County at the NCACC North Youth Summit on August 12th and 13th. Thank you so much for your support. When most people think of 4-H, they think of agriculture, showing animals, fairs, and riding horses. This evening, I would like to share with you the other aspects of 4-H. I have had wonderful personal experiences with 4-H throughout my life. It has provided me with many opportunities. 4-H is a community-based organization. They offer activities for all ages. I started in 4-H when I was 7 years old. Initially, I was involved with a club that did monthly meetings and participated in county events that included Favorite Food Show, County Activity Day, Talent Show, and Project Record Books. Some of the other activities we did included summer blast camps, which are mainly for younger children, but it also allows teenagers to volunteer. As I have gotten older, I have become a member at large where I have put more focus on the leadership aspects of 4-H. I'm currently our county council secretary and have been a teen helper for summer blast camps for the past 3 summers. While there is the club and county aspects of 4-H, there are also district, state, and national 4-H events that one can participate in. There is 4-H camp, where you spend a week at camp. Personally, this is one of my favorite parts of 4-H because you meet lots of new people from all over the state. We all come together and spend a week getting to know each other through team building and outdoor activities. 4-H encourages all of its members to participate in presentations, helping them to build their leadership, public speaking skills, confidence, and much more to make them a more well-rounded and experienced person who can contribute to their community. One of the main events for teenagers is 4-H Congress, where 4-Hers from all over the state come together at NC State in Raleigh. This is the one thing that 4-H offers that I have not personally participated in yet, but I will be attending for my first time this upcoming weekend. While there, I am participating in a program called AIRI. It stands for Application, Interview, Resume, and Essay. So before Congress, I submitted my application, my resume, and my essay, and while I'm at Congress, I will have my interview. This is a great way to become prepared for the real world and the rest of my life in the business world. If you are selected in the AIRI program, you are given the opportunity to represent your state, North Carolina, at National Congress, where people from all over the world attend. These are just a few highlights that 4-H offers. 4-H gives back to our community by adding leadership, public speaking skills, and much more to our young people's lives. Thank you for inviting 4-H to be part of the NCACC Youth Summit, and thank you for your support. Thank you for the opportunity for me to represent Stanley County and letting me increase my knowledge of local government. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck this weekend. At this time, the adoption of the City of Locust and Town of Red Cross Comprehensive Traffic Plan, Ms. Dana Stujanki is here, and I think, Dana, this requires a public hearing. Is that correct or no?
It did require a public hearing, yes.
Okay. We will add that to, if it's okay with everyone, we'll just add that to when you get through your presentation.
Okay.
And I've been sitting through this presentation for about 4
You could
years
give it.
now. So I probably could. I think I could give it in my sleep.
I apologize for being a little late. I had some bad weather to drive through. I was going to upload a presentation before I got here. It says a password I need? Oh, I'm sorry. Is it right here? I apologize. I'm a little frazzled. Okay, well, thank you all. I appreciate having me again. I know I've done this presentation once before for you, I think last month or 2 months ago, and nothing on the map has changed. We have gone through a public hearing process, public workshop process. We've had this plan adopted by the Locust City of Locust, we've had it adopted by the Town of Red Cross, and so we are here tonight for adoption for this comprehensive transportation plan that looks at highways, rail, transit, all sorts of modes across that jurisdiction, which is basically Locust, Red Cross, and unincorporated Stanley County. And this is the I don't know if you guys can see it on the screen, the base map. Here is the actual highway map. So the highway map is showing, just like last time you saw, 2427 is going to be just boulevarded. It will not be, there is no bypass. We had the section that's going to be in boulevarded is basically the section from Red Cross where it stops the Super Street and into Locust. Again, this is a plan. This is not, none of this is funded yet. This is just a planning process to get our projects on the TIP, the Transportation Improvement Program. In addition, there is, if you go to the inset, which is Locust, you can see there is right here is the proposed Stanley Parkway, and this is trying to parallel 2427. We know there's a lot of congestion. There's projected to be more congestion on that road. And you know, the boulevard really will help alleviate congestion in the town of Locust. If you think of a boulevard like Highway 51 or Fairview Road in Charlotte, they handle gobs of traffic. And they also allow for pedestrian traffic. They allow the neighborhoods to stay connected. So, you know, those boulevards do a good job of managing traffic as well as managing people, which, you know, in this case in Locust, you want to make sure that the north side and the south side can still coexist together. Then if you go back up to the big map for the highways, you can see there's a little piece here in in Red Cross that's right by the high school. It's actually basically through the high school parking lot, trying to create a exit on Lakewood. I know at our last meeting that we met, we talked about the roundabouts. They're still not noted on the map. NCDOT, for whatever reason, doesn't want to note those on the map. They are in the text of the recommendations that you should have in front of you. So again, those roundabouts are going to be on 200 and Bethel Church. They're going to be at Bethel Church, right where the middle school is, Running Creek. There's going to be one potentially at Lakewood in 200. So those, is that right? 200? 205. I apologize. 205. And so those roundabouts, again, are on the list of potential things to do improvements. You'll see a lot of the dash lines on your map. Most of those are just basic upgrades. We have a lot of farm to market roads still in Stanley County, and that just basically means that you're going to go from an 11-foot lane to a 12-foot lane, and maybe they'll add a shoulder. So you're just improving the safety and functionality of that road. Scrolling down to the pedestrian map, basically we've taken everything that Locust has and everything that Red Cross has, and we put it on the map. We really didn't alter this because we like them to dictate what they want on the ground, and Stanley County didn't have a rec plan or, you know, pedestrian plan in this area. Again, same thing with the bicycle map. We took exactly what was either, we actually added the state stuff too, but this is mainly Locust and Red Cross's ideas and through their adoption process. And public transportation and rail, no rail going on, but we do have some public, some park and rides. NCDOT does have an icon for park and rides, so we have 2 established park and rides that are noted on the map. So that's sort of, I know I've been through this before, that is sort of the overall of this this plan. Are there any specific questions? And just so you know, we have in 2 weeks or a week and a half, we have the TAC meeting. So this will go before the RPO's TAC, which is the elected body, and they will recommend either approval or non-approval of this document. Hopefully then we will send this to the Board of Transportation up in Raleigh for Department of Transportation, and hopefully they will give it a endorsement as well. Once that happens, these projects can then flow on to basically the wish list. And just so you all know, tomorrow night here in this room, NCDOT's going to hold a public hearing, or I should say public workshop, on their prioritization list. So if you're interested in the current projects that are on that list, that will be tomorrow night here, I think 4 to 7 or 4 to 8 in this room, and that is an NC DOT meeting. So that is really all I have for my presentation. Unless you all have questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions for Dana?
Oh, it
All right.
took me about 2 hours to get here.
All right.
Usually it takes me 55 minutes, so yeah.
Thank you, Dana. Before we get into the public hearing, could I get a motion to excuse Commissioner Burleson from tonight's meeting?
So moved.
Got a motion, second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. At this time, I'll declare the public hearing open for the City of Locust Town of Red Cross Comprehensive Traffic Plan. Anyone here to speak for or against? At this time, I'll declare the public hearing closed. What's the pleasure of the board? Have a motion we approve by Commissioner Dennis, a second by Commissioner Shudo. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Dana. Planning and zoning, our presenter is Mr. Tim Swearingen. Michael is not here. He's got 2 items that he would like us to go through. Tim?
Good evening, Board. It's a pleasure to be here tonight with you on a nice weather night. I heard from my wife that we've had a river running through our yard. So anyway, the first order of business we have, the town of Oakboro in a previous meeting has adopted an agreement to authorize the Stanley County Planning Department to provide enforcement for the town of Oakboro's zoning ordinance within their corporate city limits and ETJ. This agreement would be for a 6-month period. The Stanley County Planning Department already provides a similar service to the towns of Baden, the city of Locust, the town of New London, and the town of Norwood. The rate of compensation to the county for this service to Oakboro would be $30 per hour, and then also any cost incurred, postage or printing of materials would also be covered by the town to the county. It's our recommendation that this interlocal agreement for enforcement of the local ordinance there in town of Oakboro be adopted by the county.
All right, Tim. Any questions? Have a motion we approve by Commissioner Shudo, a second by Commissioner Dennis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Lord. Also got another item. The Stanley County Board of Adjustment is a 9-member board consisting of 7 regular members, 2 alternate members. Currently we have 3 members whose terms are expiring effective June 30th, actually. Michael D. Eford, Houston Buddy Clark, and Richard Cosgrove. Buddy Clark and Michael Eford, they're eligible for reappointment to another 3-year term. Richard Cosgrove has already served 2 consecutive terms, and therefore there'll be 1 vacancy of regular members. Cynthia Fish is currently serving as an alternate member, and she may be able to be designated as a regular member. So it's our request that the Board of Commissioners appoint the following to the Stanley County Board of Adjustment. We ask that you reappoint Michael D. Eford and Houston Buddy Clark with their terms expiring on June the 30th, 2019, and also that you appoint Cynthia Fish to be a regular member with her term expiring June 30th, 2018. And then I believe there are 3 applications that have been received for volunteers. We have 1 person then that you'll need to appoint to fill the vacant position as an alternate, and that position would expire on June 30th, 2019.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Michael Evert and Houston Buddy Clark to another term, and Cynthia Fish to fill the vacant spot. And I'd like to nominate or place Jim Starnes, who's an accountant out in Stanfield, lives in Albemarle, as the alternate.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Tim. Number 5, the resolution in support of the Stanley County Aviation and US 52 widening projects, and our presenter is Mr. Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As you know, the Strategic Transportation and Investment Plan has been in place for since 2013. And there's a strategic mobility formula that's associated with that ranks statewide projects and then regional projects between Division 10 and I believe Division 11. And then there's also local Division 10 division level projects. 2 projects that were being evaluated for funding that are of particular significance for Stanley County relate to the lengthening and widening of the runway at the airport and the widening of US 52 south from Albemarle to south of Crump Road in Norwood. And that stretch of US 52 has actually seen 4 fatalities resulting from vehicle accidents in the past year, possibly 18 months. And so that project, although initially it was the TAC of the Rocky River Planning Organization, was given the information that would receive, those projects would receive division points. Or at least the airport one was, not the widening of 52, but the airport project would receive division points. They said that they would not give it, after further consideration, said they would not give it division points because it was too costly. And we told them that, you know, there's potential for federal funding to help offset that, but they said that could not be part of their criteria because there's nothing in writing that they're going to get that funding, although we know very strongly there'll be participation for that project. So I think it's important that we communicate to the Board of Transportation that this board feels strongly that both the airport lengthening and widening and the US 52 widening are important projects for Stanley County. And I know they're having that workshop tomorrow evening. There's also a public comment period that's open for the next couple of weeks, and so if we were able to pass a resolution stating our concerns with how those projects are ranked, we can submit those comments to the division and the state Board of Transportation and the local Division 10, so they're aware of your concerns, and so they're on record. So that's what the action is requested of you this evening through this resolution. I'll be happy to answer any additional questions.
Any questions?
I make a motion we approve the resolution.
Got a motion by Commissioner Shudo and a second by Commissioner Lawhon. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, the selection of a voting delegate for the 2016 NCACC Annual Conference. Again, our presenter is Mr. Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This information came to us from the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners seeking a voting delegate at their annual business meeting, which will happen Saturday, August 13th, scheduled from 2:15 to 4:45. I know in the past we've had some commissioners attend this business meeting, and other times we haven't. It's not mean, it's not necessary that we have to have someone there, but I think if we're going to have, if someone is at the conference during that time, it may be beneficial for us to have a voting delegate, but it's not something that, you know, we have to have in order to maintain our place in the association or anything of that nature. They're just asking that if we are going to have someone there, that if we want them to vote on Stanley County's behalf on business of the association, officers and other policy organizational matters that the association may take up. That won't be any legislative items or legislative goals. That'll happen at a different process in February. Excuse me. It'll probably happen because since it's a long session, that process will start in October and November this next year. And so this isn't related to those legislative goals. It's simply related to the operations and business of the association. Correct. So if someone's going to be there, then obviously we could appoint that person to do it. If someone's not, then, you know, I don't think it's imperative.
Mr. Chairman, Tyler has registered me to be there, and I plan to go. I want to see this young lady at 4-H, the events that they have. So I am planning to go, and I will do that if y'all so desire. But if somebody else is going and wants to be the voting delegate, then they can do that.
Okay, I got a Commissioner Dennis and a second by Commissioner Lahan to appoint Commissioner McIntyre to be a voting delegate. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations. Number 7, we got several appointments. I'll just start at the beginning, one place I know to start. Appointment for the Richfield Board of Adjustments and ETJ. You need to appoint 2 members to the Richfield BOA and ETJ for 2 terms, serving from July 1, 2018. And it looks like we just have 2 in our packet.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion we appoint Guy Medlin, who just retired from Vulcan Industries after about 30-something years, and he's not very old, but appoint him and Dale Burris to the Richfield Board of Adjustments.
I have a motion for Mr. Medlin and Mr. Burris, and I have a second by Commissioner Dennis. Any more discussion? You got all this, Tyler? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carried. Next, you have the appointment to the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. Looks like we need 4? Okay.
There's 4 potential spots. You don't have to have 4.
Yeah, it looks like we have 4 volunteer applicants.
Make a motion to appoint them.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me find out who they are.
Excuse me. Chris Fish, Carrie Hathcock, Jessica Smith Holt, and Frida B. Owens.
Okay. I have a motion and I have a second by Commissioner Dennis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Gene, don't wear your finger out.
I'm not.
Next, we have Conventioner and Visitors Bureau Board of Director appointments.
We don't have any applicants, do we?
We're looking for 2. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, I have a motion to appoint Ms. Moffitt and
Second.
Ms. Ashley Smith. I have a wait. Yeah. I had a motion and a second. When do you want to say something? Okay. Okay. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Do you want to do it now? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's back up then. I recognize Mr. Lucas.
I just want to make note that Candace was actually appointed because she was your Agri-Civic Center director, and there's so much tourism activity that occurs out there Candace is now the transportation director. She's been a great board member for them, and I think she's actually their secretary or treasurer, and she's willing to go back on there. But I don't know if it may be that you want to hold off on this appointment until we have a new Agri-Civic Center director, because I think there is some value of having the Agri-Civic Center director seated at that table. But that's just my thoughts and recommendations.
No, that's a great point. I'm sorry I jumped the gun there.
So, can we just amend the motion?
I make a motion to reconsider the motion that we previously considered.
Second.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion to appoint Ashley
Second.
Smith.
A second.
And a second. Any discussion?
Candace will continue to serve until someone new is appointed, because she hasn't been terminated. So.
Okay. Okay.
Let's make that one in the very near future.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, sir. Sorry about that. Now the Region F Region F Agent Advisory Committee appointment. We have an appointment for one delegate for a 2-year term beginning July 1st, 2016 to June 30th, 2018, and appoint one alternate for a 1-year term from July 1st, 2016 to June 30th, 2017.
I make a motion that we reappoint Ms. Henson. Let's see. Yes, Ms. Henson as the alternate. Do we have any applications here? Yeah. I'm sorry. We don't have any? Okay. Well, it says she doesn't have to be an alternate, does she? She's a delegate.
Yes, she can't be a delegate again. She can only be an alternate now. And she's willing to do that.
Well, it just says she's agreed to serve again.
She did
As
agree.
an alternate.
So she can't. Okay, I'm sorry.
She agreed to serve, and then. but
Delegate reappointment.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to appoint Ms. Henson as an alternate,
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Louder. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The Airport Authority Board appointment.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to appoint David Rudison to fill the current vacancy.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dennis
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Lawhon to appoint Mr. Rudisill to fill the vacant position on the Airport Authority Board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, y'all bear with me a second. I gotta get caught up.
Yes.
That's all the appointments. Next, number 8, the Oakboro School Subcommittee / Task Force. Our presenter is Commissioner Shudo.
I brought this up at a previous meeting. Depending on what the school board did, they voted to move forward with the closure of Oakboro Elementary School. And I'd like to be proactive on this instead of just waiting around to see what happens. And I know that what I'd like to do is form a task force with one of us, doesn't have to be me, with maybe someone from the school board and someone from the town of Oakboro, to see if we could get the groups together to see what we can do with that facility out there, whether they want to try to sell it to a business, or to perhaps even, perhaps Oakboro could use it as part of their town hall. I mean, there's a lot that could be offered as that could be a thriving place for the community. I know we have Daniel Smith there. He's in charge of their Parks and Rec out there. They have a small Parks and Rec department, and that gymnasium could be perfect for that. It could be a place for the senior center out in West Stanley area, because we've talked about, West Stanley Senior Center finding location. And the library, I know the library had issues with the usage, the lack of usage of the Oakboro Library, perhaps moving into that facilities. It could be, I mean, there's a lot of different options, and just like to maybe get a task force to explore the possibility of what to do with that building and what to do with that land, because it is in the, right there in the town and stuff. So I don't know y'all's thoughts on it. I guess how we would proceed. Perhaps we need to just, if we wanted to do that and be proactive, reach out to the town of Oakboro and to reach out to the Board of Education to see if they're interested in joining us on this task force. 'Cause I know that we have some responsibility of the buildings, and we have a vested interest in the buildings.
Andy, I have a question for you. Right now, the BOE actually owns that building, correct?
That's correct. The schools own all the buildings with the exception of two, Aquadale and Locust, because we have debt on those that required us to have the bank wasn't going to give us money for those installment financing without having clear title to those. So the county actually has title to Aquadale and Locust Elementary School, but the rest of the schools are owned, and the school system shows those as assets on their financial statements and has full operational and maintenance responsibility for those buildings. We provide capital money, but we really don't have any responsibility for the actual how they undertake the maintenance.
And I do have a question now, Andy. If you could remind us what we do if they go to sell it, don't we have first right to buy it or something like that, or how does that work? And we have to approve something?
That's correct. If the building were to be sold, any property that the school system disposes of, the county gets first right of refusal for that, and the proceeds are, by statute, must go to retire debt and or go towards capital. It cannot be used for operational purposes.
So what is the process? They have to first of all decide what they want to do with it, and then they get an appraisal or something, or how do they do that before they offer to us, if they do that?
Yeah, if they were going to sell it, I would assume that they would get, an appraisal, get a real estate developer involved to help them, or broker to assist them with the sale of that, and then they would, someone would make an offer, and that they would come to us, or before that process even happens, they would come to us and say, we'd like the county to do this before we put it on the market, and the county would have, the ability to buy that facility before it's sold. So it happens in multiple ways. It's happened where someone's actually given them something, offered them something, and they brought it to us, or they just offered it up to us before it's Central Elementary Schools. The old Central Elementary School is a good example. That was offered to us before the folks who were going to do the apartments. And we looked at it, and we did a study of the abatement of mold and lead paint and other things in that building, and it was going to be extremely costly just to do that, and let alone we didn't really have a use for it, and so we passed up on that. And obviously it's gone into good hands and will be put to good use, and it's on the on the tax books. So but that in that case we had the option to do something with that building before it was put on the market. So it's happening in a couple different, I think a few months ago we had the opportunity there was a bid for a piece of property at Aquadale School that was no longer being used by the school, and there was actually an amount of money that was offered, and the county had the ability to match that or to purchase it, and we passed because it really didn't have any functional use for us from an economic development purposes because of that rail line right there, or any other use. So again, put it back into the private sector and let those folks use it and put it to good use in the community.
If I can just make a couple of comments here on on some of the previous schools in Stanley County and what they're doing right now. Of course, Ridgecrest I think they just use it for a couple classrooms or wrestling or something like that. But there was a time when the college was interested in that building for the culinary school, and the school board kind of turned that away. The Waddell Center is a great example of turning an old school into a thriving center. In the Waddell Center, the Rotary Club of Albemarle recently spent $20,000 in the back and built a walking trail, put some bleachers up, put a backstop up, put a water fountain up, and there's a nice, to enhance that facilities. And I know that they talked about the Rotary Clubs looking at helping replace their floor. That place is used all the time, the Waddell Center, and they have a lot of banquets there and a lot of meetings there and stuff like that. That's a thriving part of the Albemarle community. It's the Waddell Center. Then you have West Albemarle, which is partnership with the colleges using that, I believe, for the law enforcement classes. And Central's a good example of turning it into, apartment complexes where people's living, and I believe that's, going to be living in there, going to turn it into tax base. So I would just like to be, there's a lot of uses out there, and if you put our heads together with different things to kind of get the ball moving on, and instead of just, we'll just keep it there empty just to see what happens. Then you're just hoping. So I'd like to get more of a be proactive with it. So I don't know what y'all's thoughts are on the task force or not, because it takes 4 to do anything.
This is from recollection. I believe we received a letter from citizens of Oakboro that asked that if the county received the property, that we would work with them to title the property in a group from Oakboro. Am I correct in that?
I believe it was the mayor.
The mayor reached out to the board some time ago, before any decision was made.
Hopefully the Board of Education will decide what they're going to do with it, and I think it's a great idea to be, proactive in doing something, but until they decide what they want to do with it, I don't know really what we can do. Maybe we can find out who would be willing to serve on such a task force, and go from there, and then hopefully they'll contact us here pretty soon.
I guess I need to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we reach out to the town of Oakboro and to the Board of Education to see if they want to have a representative on a task force to see what can be done with the old former Oakboro Elementary School.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor to reach out to Oakboro, Town of Oakboro, and the Board of Education.
Yes. I have a question. I might second that motion, but I have a question.
Okay.
You mean have Andy to reach out to the superintendent and the mayor? Or have our chair do it?
Correct.
All right. Or
If there's
either.
interest, then we'll form one. If not, then we don't.
Well, I'll second that motion.
All right. I have a motion for Mr. Lucas to reach out, and I'll be happy to assist if you need to. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. Number 9, you all should have the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Amended. Thank you.
I have a motion and a second.
Well, did you second it, Gene?
I think Peter did. Did you second? Commissioner Shudo did. And you should have the corrections for the June 23rd. Okay, that's what you were referring to. Okay. Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now, we're at public comment. I have 3 folks signed up. Mr. Tim Fesperman and Trent Middlebrook from the City of Locust. Y'all want to speak together, or? Okay. Yes, sir. Come on up and step up.
Hey guys, ladies. I just wanted to come and thank you for a couple of things that the county commissioners have done and stayed true, and these are big things. Purchase of the sewer treatment plant for Western Stanley, and purchase or transfer of the ownership of the sewer transmission line for Western Stanley County. These are 2 very, very big deals for Locust, and I won't speak for the others, but I think you know how they feel as well. Before a business or a developer would come in, they would want to talk about sewer. We would have to think about an extension permit requiring the City of Locust signature, the City of Stanfield signature, the City of Oakboro signature, and possibly in most of the time Stanley County signature. 4 different groups getting together and trying to decide, and it took a lot of time. You know, somebody a lot smarter than me quoted one time, government moves slow, and for that we're thankful, but it was really a big process. And not only that, but to look into the future and see the stability that's offered from those decisions that some of y'all initially made, but all of you have supported. And Andy, you've been huge in that. And I just wanted to come and thank you and let you know how big a deal that is, and let Stanley County know how big a deal that is and what it's going to mean to us in the future. So I know people and some students talking about local government. They're big deals. That's big stuff that happens right here, and it really controls the future of Stanley County, but more importantly for me, my grandkids. So if you want to ask me about those, I'll tell you, but probably don't. But I just wanted to thank you and let you know we appreciate it. A lot of hard work, a lot of meetings, a lot of stuff. But it's done. It's behind us. It's working beautifully, and we're excited what's going to happen out in the western part of the county. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Tim. I don't know, for y'all that don't know, Tim is the city administrator for the city of Locust, and Tim will also be retiring here in a couple months, so that retirement bug has bit. So thank you, Tim. Next is Mr. Trent Middlebrook, and Trent is a officer for the city of Locust, and he's here to speak the, man, I can't read y'all's writing. Radio system.
Radio system.
Radio system.
Thank you, Board Chairman. I can't explain to you how important it is to push that button and it goes through. Well, we can talk to communications. It's paramount. My family thanks you for the safety. We can get home every night. It's the city of Locust thanks you. All the officers, firefighters, everybody thanks you for the radio system. It's amazing how much better. It's night and day from what we had. It gives us the option for, I mean, multiple ops channels to be able to get off that main channel. So if somebody does have emergency traffic, can talk on and get out. GPS technology. I mean, this radio system, the sky's the limit. We can do anything and everything with this radio system. I'm gonna keep it brief. I just, again, thank y'all so much for everything with the radio system. The end user, it's wonderful. Got any questions, let me know if I can explain the end user part of it.
Thank you for what you do. Thank you.
Appreciate your service, sir. Yep. And last but certainly not least is our good sheriff, George T. Burris. Sheriff, it's your floor.
Chairman, Commissioners, thank y'all for all that you do for this county. Thank you for the leadership you put forth. And speaking of that, being the chief law enforcement officer and elected sheriff of this county, I feel it's my responsibility to be very proactive, not only for my citizens and for my commissioners, but also for my fellow law enforcement officers. Me and Commissioner McIntyre will speaking today, and we would basically, and I know I would, like to get your support. Over the last week, law enforcement has taken quite a hit. We've seen multiple deaths with police officers, ambush killings, murders, and the stats say that every 61 hours there's one law enforcement officer killed in the United States. Over the past 10 years there's been over 1,400 that's died in the line of duty. And with nearly 1 million sworn law enforcement officers in our great nation, we can never forget that we can only do so much as people. It is my belief, and I've got the liberty to say, that the Lord has blessed us immensely with great health, a great county, a great board, great sheriff's office, police departments, highway patrol, and wildlife. And as your sheriff, I would ask for your support. With me and Commissioner McIntyre, we would like to have a Stanley County Law Enforcement Day of Prayer. I'm hoping we can do this the second week of August, maybe around August 11th, only about an hour. And we'd love to invite each one of you. We would like to use the Agri Civic Center if that is available. And we will keep it short and sweet, but I do want to have all 8 agencies in the county represented, and the Highway Patrol and North Carolina Wildlife. I want to include all our boards, our town councils, our law enforcement, our churches, our citizens, just for an hour to be still and just pray for our law enforcement in our great county. With 10 agencies representing this county, we have a lot of law enforcement men and women that put their life on the line daily and never ask for anything else. You don't make the best money, you don't have the best reputation sometimes, but we do it for our citizens, and we do it because that's what we believe the Lord called us to do. So I would ask with your support, and on the back of our pamphlet we just started it today, me and Captain Hatley, I would like to say this is sponsored by the Stanley County Sheriff's Office and our great Stanley County Commissioners. I believe we are a team, and we all need to be on board with this. And ladies and gentlemen, if we don't support our local law enforcement, who's going to? So I just want to come to you tonight and just ask humbly that you all consider this, you support this, and if we can shoot for August 11th, I would love for each one of you to be there with your families and help support this great time. I'm going to ask several pastors in the county to be there, hopefully have a little singing and some good prayer for our men and women in law enforcement. Thank you, Mr.
Sheriff, you
Chairman.
need a motion on this for us to support you? I'll be glad to make it. Don't need one.
I think it would be
But it'd
good.
help, it'd be all right.
I
We'll
think
do
it'd be
it.
good to have one.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we support. the
I'll
sheriff
second
in this.
that motion.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm not even
I
gonna ask
appreciate
who's
it.
opposed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do we know the details as far as the hour on August the 11th?
I'm looking.
We don't know if that date's available yet, but that's, I think it will be.
We're
It's
gonna
tied
look
up
at
till
that date,
then.
look at start about 6 p.m. and
Tentative.
I want to do it right. I want to have my honor guard there present the colors. I want to have the Pledge of Allegiance. I want to have Star Spangled Banner sung. I
Yeah.
want to have it. I want to do it upright for our law enforcement. I'm going to tell you, when you got men out west at Locust and you got men down south and women in Norwood, wherever we need them, they're going to come. And surrounding counties, we have a great relationship with them, and I love to do it right for them and really show them and honor them what we think of them. But I do appreciate this time.
Thank you, Sheriff. Just
Thank
keep us
y'all.
informed, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? I don't have anything else signed up. Yes, we voted, yeah. All right, this time, board closing comments, announcements, and committee report, and Commissioner McIntyre, I'll start with you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say that for some time now, I've been really concerned about what's going on in our country with the deaths and what our sheriff has talked about, and I did call him this morning. I've had some citizens to contact me and say, we'd love to have something at the Agri-Civic Center if we could get the fee waived, because it's quite expensive to do that. And so I had a little brain, whatever you call it, and asked our county manager if we co-hosted it or hosted it, would that take care of the charge, and he said it would. So I immediately called our sheriff, and he told me that this morning he was planning to meet with some of his staff and his detectives and department heads and start planning something, on a smaller scale. And I said, well, if we can do it at Agri-Civic Center and the weather's bad, we can get inside. And so it's come to this. So, like I say, we don't have a definite date. The Agri-Civic Center's tied up until the 7th of August, and so that's a date that he's picked. Thursday night's a good night. Weekends are not usually a good night to get a crowd out, so I'd like to see it packed. And I just thank the sheriff for all he does, and thank him for taking it by the horns and organizing this thing. And he's got some folks he's going to contact that's going to get it publicized, and so we'll have a good crowd. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Louder? Commissioner Lawhon?
This is information to let everyone know that might watch or is listening, that there's several board members of the Stanley County EDC that plans to attend the Aerospace Supply and Advanced Manufacturing Summit in Winston-Salem, which is coming up August the 16th and 17th. And our hopes are that we'll make some good contacts with potential aerospace type companies that hopefully at some point in the future would consider Stanley County as a viable place to locate business. The other thing I want to report on is the and I appreciate our county manager supplying me with this information. I know he knows that I like this type of information. It's housing building permits for residential housing, and I like to compare January to June 2015 to January to June 2016, and just give you a little information. During 2015 there were 58 housing permits issued during that time period, and the good news is in 2016 we had 98 housing permits, so a big increase. And the amount of houses value for 2015 was $9.19 million, and the same period this year equates to $14.74 million, which tells me that our contractors, subcontractors, building supply houses are busy building new homes, which is good for our economy. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Dennis.
I want to mention the community college. We had a student that went over there for a year in nursing. It was going to get his skills better. He had a problem with the English language. I can't tell you, I can't pronounce his name. He's Andy, you might be able to pronounce it. I sent you the email on it. But anyway, I want him to try it. His first name is Cesar. Had a terrible time with the English language. He worked over there a year running the English, applied and went to UNC at Charlotte, where he got his BS and his master's degree, and went on, it was in nursing, and then went on to Duke University and got his doctorate degree, and is now practicing. Let's see if I can find what he's practicing. It's he's a chief nurse practitioner in hematobiliary, pancreatic, and advanced laparoscope surgery at Carolinas Medical Center, Maine. So that's a success story. One of our students went to community college first and then went on and made it all the way to a doctorate. So I just like to share that with people.
Thank you, Commissioner Dennis. We appreciate that. Commissioner Shudo.
Just a couple things real quick. Just want to thank Ms. Van Horn for coming out and speaking. What grade are you in or going into? 10th grade. You know, one thing is public speaking is very difficult to do, and you're very articulate, and doing stuff like this is just good practice for life, you know, for lifetime leadership. So very, very good job. I want to thank Dennis Joyner, the Sheriff Burris, and David Griffin for being out here. I know you guys lead a lot of people in the county, and, you know, do important jobs. Not that you in our, you know, kind of department heads and the office at the head of the sheriff's office over there. Anyway, just want to thank y'all for coming out. And then just want to mention real quick, I got a call from Mike Bellwood today from Alcoa. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Alcoa sold their hydroelectric operations. So, you know, he said they're going to, you know, they're selling the hydroelectric operations, but they're going to continue running the business park and develop that business park and stuff like that. So we'll get more information on that, I guess, over the next couple of days, and how it impacts Stanley County.
Thank you, sir. Before we go into closed session, our next regular meeting is Monday, August the 8th, 2016 at 7 o'clock. This time I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss an economic development in accordance with General Statute 143-318-11A4, a real estate transaction in accordance with General Statute 143-318-11A5, and a personnel issue in accordance of General Statute 143-318-11A6.
I second that motion for all those numbers you read.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.